Righty. Well, what we might do is just a reminder, the format we're going to do for this webinar is a Zoom meeting, not a webinar. So ideally, what we do is see everyone's lovely faces, and for the Q&A section particularly, we will encourage you to actually take yourself off mute to ask a question. You can do that and have a chat to us and the presenters today. The other thing is, Zoom is best in full screen, just to see the detail of slides that we might have up. And feel free to pop notes in the chat box. Now, in this webinar, we've got some guests, Regina and Darshan, who will be sharing today, and I'll be moderating the Q&A and chat box. So I'll be keeping an eye on that and can jump in if anyone does have a question. All righty. So if you're new to Inspire, new to us, if maybe this is your first webinar, just a brief introduction to Inspire. So we're an accounting firm based in Brisbane, working with clients all around Australia. And one of our specialties is our ability to save our clients tax. And we've been tracking that since the year 2015. We're in the middle of tax planning season at the moment, which means that it's one of our biggest seasons of tax savings, and we expect to take our $29 million in tax saving tally up to, it's probably going to hit 35 mil, maybe even a little bit more by 30th of June this year. So we're pretty excited about that. And another bit of info for anyone who is interested. I wrote a book published in November last year called It's All Sorted. It covers a business owner's, basically the 9-step guide for mastering your tax and achieving peace of mind. So lots of stuff in there on structures, the basics, and even the advanced stuff on tax questions that we get or tax saving strategies as well. So that's another way that you can explore some content that we share with our audience. And then me personally, I started Inspire when I was 23 years old. I'm an award-winning chartered accountant with over 17 years experience now, and the author of 2 books, It's All Sorted, which I've already mentioned, but Wealth for Life as well, which is the whole context there is helping business owners move their focus to building their family wealth through the power of running a business.
Hey, Ben, sorry, I think your slide is just frozen at the moment. Might be your video.
Yeah. Can you see me move my hand? Yes.
All good now.
Okay, we're good. All right, no worries. Cool. All righty. And what I'll do is introduce our speakers. So we've got Regine, who is a serial entrepreneur and business coach, specializing in culture and scaling, and a devoted father of 2. He's got a remarkable track record and has launched and scaled 6 successful businesses over the past 12 years. He currently leads Scale X Solutions, which is a BPO in the Philippines, but headquartered here in Australia.
Sorry, guys, we've just lost Ben. I think we're just having a bit of issues with our internet. What I might do is just put a timer back on and get him back into the room. So it won't be a moment, guys. Thank you.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Hey, that's not
Hello.
cool.
That's a first.
It is.
All right, I'll stop the share and hand it back over.
Hey, sorry, everyone. I'm not sure what happened there. Um, what was I was talking to myself for a while? So did I intro? Where did it stop? Rose, if I could just get a bit of.
I think we can just do a re-intro of Regin and Darshan again.
Okay, cool. So I was talking to myself for a minute or two. Apologies about that. Okay, so Regine is a serial entrepreneur, speaker, and business coach specializing in culture and scaling. And I'm going to specialize in spotlighting myself so people can see this photo. He is also a devoted father of two. With a remarkable track record, Regin has launched and scaled 6 successful businesses over the past 12 years. He currently leads ScaleX Solutions, a BPO based in the Philippines and headquartered in Brisbane, Australia. And I'll also introduce you to Darshan. So Darshan specializes in building high-performance remote teams with expertise in leadership and marketing. Featured in the Forbes in 23, listed in AFR Fast 100 startup in 2022, won the Stevie Award for Sales and Revenue Generation in 2023, and recognized as a 40 under 40. Darshan's mission is to empower entrepreneurs by maximizing remote team efficiency and crafting ROI-driven marketing campaigns. And I was I'm fortunate enough to know Reggie and Darshan through 2 ways. One of them is being clients of Inspire, so it's been great working with you over the last couple of years, but also through EO Queensland Entrepreneurs organisation based in Queensland here, a business community sharing similar values. So, yeah, great to have met you through that too. So, yeah, what I might do is just share briefly on what we're going to cover. But it is these 3 things here: how to identify A players offshore using unique profiling, how to create daily actions and systems to scale an offshore team. And I might even add to that, like, get success out of your offshore team. And the other one there is how to get ROI and results from VAs. So I might sort of hand over to you, Regine, and start by asking, like, if you want to share maybe a bit of context with the audience on why you started ScaleX.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Ben, and on behalf of Dash as well. And great to see you all. Yeah, so basically, I've been working with mainly building sales teams in the Philippines now for maybe 16 years, actually. I started off with one VA and built teams of people. One of our businesses has over 170 odd people in the Philippines as well, and and the ScaleX is BPO. So basically, we took one of our businesses, Get My Course, from zero to AFR Fast 100 list within a 3 to 4 year period. We did it with that very quickly, and most people didn't realize that we did that through offshore teams. We had one admin person in Brisbane. That's about it. So we had around 70 team members in the Philippines, which took us from zero to Fast 100 in 3 years. So once we did that, we started getting a lot of questions especially from friends, entrepreneurs, EO members, and all that kind of people trying to figure out how we did that. And most of them, basically, they want us to help them to do the same thing. So that's basically how we started ScaleX, trying to help businesses to scale using the offshoring strategy. So basically, Ben, that's how we started. And Ben, you asked me to share a few things, so I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully, this works. This is actually one of our presentation decks. So I'm not going to go through the entire thing. I'm just going to add value and try to go through with you a couple of things we touched on, which is how to identify the right team member. And number 2, once we identify them, how to set create right systems and procedures to make sure you're getting the best ROI out of the team members offshore. And few things like that. So let me see if I can share my screen here. Hold on a second. Go.
Awesome. That's starting to come through.
Sorry, that's the wrong one.
Right. It's just a heads up. My Zoom the app is really slow, so I may need your help potentially. It's, it seems
I
brittle.
hope you guys can see my screen now. Is that okay?
I
Beautiful.
I can't yet, but that might
Yep.
just be my end.
From rest of you can see it?
That's looking good on our end. All good.
Cool.
Great, great. Okay, awesome. So, look, guys, I'm going to share a few things about what we've learned over the last 16 years building offshore teams, and hopefully, it can help. It can add some value. And if you're looking to build a team, or if you have an existing team, maybe help you to take it to another level. So, we talk about what exactly. It's very clear to understand what exactly we need from an offshore team member. And which part of your business needs the most support from a virtual assistant. So we actually get companies to list even before we start looking for an offshore team member. We ask them to list down everything they can uh, offload to a virtual assistant. So it could be anything which is related to any admin related work, any mundane day-to-day activities, which either them or their managers probably wasting most of their time doing the day-to-day activities. Why can't we why can't we allocate that to an offshore team member? So the idea here is the managers and the business owner to focus on um, more of those things which is actually going to build the business. For example, making the right decision, forecasting, talking to clients, all that kind of stuff. I think that's where they should be mainly focusing their time on. And any day-to-day activities, that's what we highly recommend to let an offshore virtual assistant to do. So it's very important to actually write down exactly what that would be. And that's going to make a huge difference as well.
And I found this is with when Glaze came on board, my EA. I found that what I initially wrote down or sort of thought that I could get help with, the list grew as she took more over, which was kind of cool to see. Actually, I think Glaze is in the webinar right now.
Oh,
But
cool.
yeah, so yeah, I sort of feel like that initial list might even grow over time as the person helps take tasks off your plate.
100% agree. And look, we get this question about, it's interesting, like, is the VA is going to, Philippine staff is going to take away our jobs and all that kind of stuff. But, at the end of the day, the best thing way to think about this is, our Australian team members should be doing the high level task, especially if they're going, if they're on a higher salary base. Why should they be doing the basic day-to-day admin related work and spending most of their time on that? They should be focusing on high level activities and driving the business and the company forward, especially if it's an entrepreneur. They should be trying to allocate most of their admin related work. So it takes a little bit of time to sit down and write down and think about what those things are. And even before you decide to outsource, in my opinion. So then you get clear clarity on what are the high levels which you want to do and what are the low levels which you want to get someone else offshore to do that.
Mm.
So I'm going to talk about a few things over here. First things first is obviously most of you know this, but I'm just going to talk about what are the real benefits of offshore teams. So the first thing is a given. Most of us know that 50 to 60% on savings on staff wages. That's almost half on what we pay a local member. Okay? And the ability to scale quicker. For example, you need someone to you got a list of clients you haven't called them for the last 1 year, and you know that there is so much business sitting there. Even if you have one person just to call them, just a courtesy call, hey, how are you today? Just by doing that, there's so much business to be created. But most business don't do that because they think about having men. You need to hire a new person, 60 to 70K kind of salary. But what, if you think about getting an offshore team member and creating that, helping that person to do that same job, you can scale quicker. There are so many positions which you can fill, so you can scale quicker. The fourth one is interesting. No red tapes, fair work and super and all that kind of thing. Sometimes we think of a lot of things we have to keep in mind, which is when we are hiring a local team member. And look, most offshore team members are very low risk, 2 weeks notice, and that sort of stuff. Okay? And this is a slide which also talks about the annual savings, which normally businesses are getting from, almost $3,500 to $4,000 a month in one full-time team member, which is an annual savings of around 45K, roughly on average, which is literally going to your profit margin. That's at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, increasing the profit margin. And with us, Get My Course business, which I mentioned about earlier, our profit margins were between 27 to 35%. One of the reasons for that is because of our offshoring strategy. Another example of how much, this is an email which we sent out to one of our clients just a couple of months ago, I think. And since the beginning, this is an NDIS business, and they were quite hesitant to really try this out in the beginning. And as you can see, since they started just over a year, they've saved around $160,000 just in staff wages. And I think they have 3 or 4 staff with us. And it's pretty substantial at the end, how much they can really save. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go into filtering, and before to do that, I was gonna talk one more thing about that. Before I go into filtering and finding the right talent, so what we did, because we've been in the Philippines for now 16, 17 years, we actually profiled our top 20 high performers we had over the last 15 years. So we probably had around 450 to 500 staff there on and off. And when we did that, we found something really interesting. And there was a pattern which was coming. So we picked the top 20 and we looked at everything which is common, and if we were looking for a pattern there. So why we did this is because we were really ready to scale, and we were going from maybe around 20, 25 staff to almost 100 very quickly. And we didn't want to make that mistake of scaling quickly and hiring all these people in 6 to 12 month period and ending up with a team which was not going anywhere, right? So we had to do this exercise, and this is what we found. It's very interesting, and I'm going to go through one by one. And this is probably going to spend the most time on this because hiring the right staff offshore is probably the most critical thing, okay? Because the good thing about the offshore, like Philippines, for example, is if you have one job post for a general virtual assistant, you might get 2,000 applicants compared to 100 applicants in Brisbane, right? So then the challenge is to filter them and make sure you're talking to the right 4 or 5 candidates out of 500 or 600 candidates. So this is what we found. Very interesting. So the top 20 people we found, majority, 18 out of 20 were 30 years or more, females, married with kids. Okay, so we are like, okay, there's a very interesting pattern there. Okay, and we found this group of people to be more reliable. They were responsible. They you give them instructions and they were happy to go ahead and get it done without too much micromanaging and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it was really interesting to find that. So look, we don't want to be sexist or anything like that, but at the end of the day, now we are looking for A players. We are looking for females, 30 years or more, married with kids. Okay. So it's pretty interesting how we get 80 to 85% of successful hits when that happens. Okay. Especially in the Philippines. Yeah. So the second filter I'm going to talk about in the next slide, this is a critical one, is personality profiling, especially as a scaling business, to have the right people in the right role. I'll talk more about it in the next slide, but we are obsessed about personality profiling. We don't even interview people if they don't fit the right personality for the right role. I'll give you a very simple example. If you're looking for a particular job which is highly attention to detail, and if let me go to the next slide. Actually, I might just cover it now and come back to this slide. So we actually go through Florence Littau's personality plus profiling, which is very similar to DISC profiling. But so for example, a powerful choleric is highly driven people. So in DISC profiling, it's D personality. And then we have perfect melancholies, which are, I think it's C personality in DISC profiling, which is highly attention to detail kind of people. Numbers, graphs, attention to detail, they love that kind of stuff. Okay, that type of personality. Then we have sanguines, which are life of the party, great people skills, that which is actually an I personality in DISC profiling. And then we have phlegmatics, which is amazing team members. They're just quiet, they just get their job done and go home, sort of kind of people as well. So if you are looking for if you have an attention to detail job, one of the mistakes we did previously, we had a really highly attention to detail job. Basically, it was an accounts receivable type of role. And we actually never did this kind of personality profiling in the beginning. And basically, we are selecting people just based on their experience on their resume. Okay, big mistake. And we looked at this lady. She was amazing on the resume, 8 to 9 years doing the similar type of job, but she was a popular sanguine. Okay, people's person, life of the party. Okay, that kind of personality.
Might not be bad for accounts receivable.
Exactly right. And lovely lady. Okay, everybody loved her. High energy, great personality. But man, 1-2 months into the job, we are seeing all these challenges, and obviously it didn't work out. We had to let her go. But then when we went back and looked at it, we actually probably lost around 600 to 700K in terms of that 7 or 8 months she was working there, in terms of lost business and potential lost future clients. Okay. Why? Because it's just not her personality. Doesn't suit her. That job really doesn't suit what she's doing. Well, if she was a customer service person or receptionist or something, that would have been a perfect. She would have been a perfect candidate.
Yep.
So we learned a big lesson about this, and since then we are very, very focused on this. And I'll go back there. So that's our second filter, which we take very seriously. And the third filter, this is an interesting one as well. It's called as a hunger or a breadwinner test. And we have 10 unique sets of questions which we go through to make sure they're definitely the breadwinner of their family or someone who really need the job. Okay. Critical. Let me give you some examples. Okay, so one of the questions we ask them is, hey, so tell me about, again, during the interview, very casual approach. This is not like a police officer questioning kind of scenario. This is like a very casually when we are trying to talk to them. Hey, by the way, what does your husband do? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, my husband is the CEO of blah, blah, blah company. Okay, good. Okay, great. So why are you looking for this particular job? oh, look, I have 2 kids, during the day, the kids go to school, my husband is at work, and I'm just getting bored, I'm just looking to do some work along the way.
Mm.
This is not a good candidate, my friends, okay? Because she's probably looking to get the job it's like a hobby for her, okay? So a challenge with this kind of a candidate is that as soon as you give them some kind of challenge, or you challenge them with a particular job, or you question them, or when there is a curveball, they quit. They can't handle that curveball because they're not there for make sure they're paying the bills, and the reason for coming to the job is not it's not strong enough. Okay, so we have a few things like that which we ask just to make sure that this is the right person looking for the job, and they have hungry enough to actually get the job as well. Okay. So these are the 3 filters which we do at this stage, even before they actually come for the interview with some of our clients, to make sure that they're definitely the right candidate even before we start. And once we do this, then we go into their experience and technical skills and all that kind of stuff. Okay? So it's interesting how we do this first, make sure they're the right cultural fit and everything, and then we go to technical skills rather than the other way around. So yeah, this has really been helpful to us with 3 different businesses, and it's really helped us to get the right A players in different, and also having the right people in the right roles as well.
Yeah, so this is sort of coming from, as it sort of says at the top of that slide, distilling what's worked really well in the past from over 1,000 team members.
And we were, by the way, that 1,000 is not just from our business, but also our clients' businesses, and understanding who are the best A players in their businesses as well. And so we were able to see a whole range of different people as well. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, quite interesting. I'm going to move on from here, but I think this is going to be a critical part of offshoring, finding the right talent offshore. Because we find that the more we work on the front end and making sure we're getting the right people, everything else becomes easier in the back end. So what happens once they start? Okay, so I'm just going to go back here. I think I saw a slide there which was, okay, so once you find the right candidate, and you feel that this is definitely the right person, then our recommendation is to onboard them exactly how you would onboard one of your team members in Brisbane or Gold Coast. Okay, because remember, they are excited, they are a little bit nervous. I'll give you an example of sometimes what happens with some of our clients, but we clearly explain and train the clients to do this the right way. So we finally did all the interviews and we hired them. They're excited, they're nervous, they're looking forward to the first day of the shift. And sometimes what happens is our clients, some people don't really take the time to prepare and induct them the right way. And they just spend maybe 15 minutes with them, and they don't make them feel important. They don't make them feel part of the company. They don't introduce them to the rest of the team. So, and obviously we are setting them up for failure. So we highly recommend to really have a induction plan, make them feel part of the company, make them feel, talk about your vision and mission, all that kind of stuff. And you normally find that if you do that also in the right way in the beginning, they will end up doing a great job in the back end as well. We find that a lot as well. So look, one of the things we do is we have a job outcome planner, and we actually run this with the client and the VA and one of us. We sit in this meeting. This is actually part of the induction. And when you look at it, this is a very simple format, but man, this is very powerful if you use it very well every single month. So if you look, basically on the left side is the daily tasks and activities. So it could be attending phone calls, sending email, maybe doing some courtesy calls, maybe 30 calls a day, So it could be all the tasks on the left side. And then if we have on the right side, which is the actual goal or the outcome. So if you're going to make 30 phone calls, and what's the outcome of that? The outcome could be, I don't know, if they're an appointment setter, the outcome could be I'm going to get 2 appointments out of it. If it's a accounts receivable job, okay, the outcome could be I'm going to get, this many bills to be paid. So task and outcome, task and outcome. So and it's so much easier to manage them with outcome rather than micromanaging every single, okay, what are you doing for this hour? What are you doing for next hour? We can give them tasks for each hour, but if you manage them based on the outcome, you're happy, they are happy, because at the end of the day, they feel like, you know what, I've done this, and this is the outcome I've received, I've done. So this is also a retention strategy as well, by the way, because if the staff is feeling that they're ticking all these boxes and they're actually achieving these things, they feel excited. They feel that, I'm actually kicking goals at work as well. And everybody's happy. So it's a win-win scenario to give them exactly what outcome we are looking for on a daily or weekly basis. Okay. So this is a big part, and we want to also on the right side, you can see challenges and roadblocks. We want to hear this from their mouth, like what is going to stop you from achieving these outcomes. Okay. Could be something as simple as, oh, I don't have an email address, or something as simple as that, or something maybe a little bit more serious we need to address. But again, that's something which they have to fill out. And they bring this job outcome sheet every single week in their weekly one-on-one. So I'm going to talk about the weekly rhythms in a second. But this is the sheet which we literally use the sheet to manage them every single week. And this is where we keep them accountable for every single week as well. Basic sheet, but one of the most powerful sheets which we have used for maybe now almost 4 or 5 different businesses. And we're getting some amazing results because they become accountable for their own goals. So we don't need to really micromanage them. So every week when we have that one-on-one, we're going to talk about it. So what happened to last week? How can I help you to achieve your goal? That sort of stuff. Go to the next one there. The only other thing I'm going to talk about is, sorry, I'm skipping this through, guys. It's good. So, okay, meeting rhythms.
On Friday sounds cool.
So meeting rhythms is a big part of setting the right system and managing them on a weekly basis based on accountability and based on outcome. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. Meeting rhythms is like, human beings love rhythms. Okay, we run our life with rhythms. So we have 60 seconds in a minute, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, 30 days in a month. There is a rhythm for everything for humans. So as a company or an entrepreneur or a business, if we give our staff a rhythm, what do you think? I'm going to open up this question and talk about how do you think you're going to make them feel if you give them rhythm and it's systemized and they know there is a morning huddle every day, they know there is a weekly one-on-one every day, so there's a rhythm for everything. How do you think we make them feel? Any answers will do.
While we're waiting for some responses, from my perspective, I think structure is a great thing for team, but also it's an opportunity to check progress or flag if they're getting stuck with something. And yeah, we do similar rhythms to what you've got on the screen there as a team as well, which again, they and the other thing is connection.
Awesome.
Dallas
and someone
said,
that's a really good one, Ben. I'm looking for something even deeper than that.
Mm.
There is a human need we are trying to fill here. Someone said it gives certainty. I love that. Anybody else? Belonging, love that. Anything else? Inclusiveness, yes. So basically, when we are giving them rhythms, and they know that there is going to be every morning there is a huddle, every day, every week there's a one-on-one. We're making them feel safe and secure.
Mm.
That's the human need we are filling by giving them rhythms every day and every week. So it's pretty cool, and that's part of belonging, and all that kind of stuff comes through that as well. So
Mm.
let me just quickly go through. I'm sure most of you have rhythms in your business as well. Most businesses do, but I'll quickly go through this, what we actually do. So morning huddle is one of the meetings where it's a quick 15 to 20 minutes. It cannot be more than 8 or 10 people we recommend in one morning huddle. So everybody is different. There is no right or wrong way. But the actual purpose of this meeting is it's almost like a shot in the arm in the morning, right? You come in, you meet everybody, you have some energy happening. So what we do is we keep it very simple. We do what was the biggest achievement for your previous day? What's your focus for today? And then we ask at the end, we ask a fun question for the day. Okay. So what's your biggest achievement yesterday? What's your focus for today? And then at the end, we ask a fun question. We want to make sure everybody laughs as well. For example, yesterday I was in one of the huddles and the question was, what's the oldest thing in your fridge?
Oh.
In your fridge, that if you can go, you got 2 minutes to go check your fridge and come back. Okay, so something like that. Okay, and then that's it. And they're doing their job. But the most amazing thing is, guys, in this meeting, what we are listening to is, as a leader, we're listening to what was their biggest achievement for yesterday. We get a lot, we hear a lot out of what's going on with each team member. Okay. And then we also know what's their focus for today. You probably talk to them something at the one-on-one on Monday, and on Thursday, they're talking about completely some other focus. Okay. Then maybe you need to talk to them to align them in the right focus.
Mm.
And then the fun question creates, obviously fun environment, builds culture, all that kind of stuff. And when we first started this, by the way, Dash and I, we were like, man, this is a bit awkward, every morning, what we're going to talk about. But we just did it anyway. And we couldn't really see the difference in the first 1 month or 2 months, but man, 3-4 months into it, magic happened. We clearly see the team building, culture happening, all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
So for me, the most important meeting is the next one, weekly one-on-one. Okay. So every single team member in our company, we have probably around 170 odd people. Everybody gets a one-on-one every Monday and all Tuesday. So Dash and I does the one-on-one with all our team leaders and managers, and they in turn do a one-on-one with every single team member.
Mm.
So this happens, obviously, the best time to do this is the start of the week, so we know exactly what they're up to for the rest of the week. So we talk about, again, it's a relationship building time as well. Hey, we always start off with, hey, how was your weekend? How is your daughter's exam going? All that kind of stuff. So it's a relationship building, a trust building, but at the same time, how can I help you to achieve your goal this week? And also talk about the job outcome sheet. I talked about, okay, how are you going with your outcome this month? Where you at? All that kind of stuff. Okay. And we hear things like, from when we start doing this, we hear things like a new team member will come back and say, I can't believe that we are doing this every week. So we ask them why, because, all the companies I worked till now, I hear from the manager only if there is a problem.
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing what happens when we do that as well. The only other thing we do is the Fun Friday. We love the word fun. So I think bringing in fun to the team, especially offshore team members, love this stuff. So we do Fun Friday. We do this on Zoom. we play some games. We have a budget of like $200 prize money, all that kind of stuff. And then we do a monthly town hall, which happens first of every month. This is basically to recognize some of the achievers for the previous months. We also get the high achievers to speak about how did they do that, which motivates the other team members, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so this is another thing. But initially, when we are starting off with one or two team members, we highly recommend the first one and the second one from day one, because that gives them clear instructions on what to do and how to get their job outcome sheet done. So I'm going to basically stop there, Ben. I know I covered a few things there, but by the way, I'm just going to also, I think, Ben, you want to do some Q&A and then go from there, or?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we might open it up to the audience for any questions that has come up as Regin's been talking. Now, again, my Zoom is fairly limiting, so I might, if it's okay, Regin, I'll just ask you to stop sharing your screen.
I will. What I'll do is, Ben, if somebody wants, before I stop sharing, I'll go to the last page, and
yes,
somebody wants to talk to us more, or if you have any questions further, here is my number. Just message me 0412215822. That's one. And just message me, let's chat, and I'm happy to jump on a call.
Okay.
By the way, I'll send it to you, Ben, if you want to email it to us, the attendees as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll include the contact details in when we send out the recording for this one. That's all right. Good.
Awesome. I'll just stop sharing. There you go.
Yeah. Awesome. All righty. Well, yeah, I haven't seen any questions come through yet, but there's a couple of ways to do that. Q&A box, chat box, or probably the best way, take yourself off mute and let's have a chat.
Before we ask the questions, I'm gonna bring in Dash as well. By the way, Dash is actually my business partner, and Dash is an absolute legend when it comes to setting up the systems. So I'm more like the front end guy, sales and marketing, but Dash is the real back end guy building the team, and so yeah, Dash is going to come in and answer some questions as well.
Fantastic.
Just to add to a few things what Regin shared, all right, some of the biggest advantages we have seen with other business owners who've been able to build remote teams is the access to the talent. Okay, the more and more we see into it, because we all know that outsourcing is a bit more affordable, a bit more cheaper. Just to give you an example, all right, we have in one of our companies an amazing operations manager. Okay, she previously used to work for HSBC as a senior operations manager. All right, and currently she manages a team of almost 14 people for us, and she's an absolute gun. I just can't believe the systems, the SOPs, the playbooks, and everything that she's been able to build. So there are different ways that we can use. But one of the biggest benefits I've seen these days is our ability as business owners to tap into one of the best talent that's out there in the world. Okay, because it would have been really hard for us to just tap that particular talent right here in Australia. Okay, and yeah, since we are so much busy building businesses, what she was able to do was just come into the business, build all the playbooks, build all the systems, and make sure the business runs like clockwork. Yeah, that was a really big advantage for us. So yeah, if you guys are keen, we can chat about that as well. I can see Dallas.
Yeah,
hi guys.
Dallas has got his hand up.
Yeah, being very compliant there, guys. I'm a high C on the disc profile. So yeah, thanks for the call for the webinar, Ben, and thanks, guys. I've tried outsourcing a couple of times, and I've fallen into the trap on both occasions of micromanaging and not really having visibility of what the individuals were doing. Once was an outsourcing company out of India, once out of the Philippines. The biggest failing was probably my own lack of process. So I didn't have that visibility, so fell into the trap of micromanaging and then scrapped the idea. So a couple of things. How do you set up those processes, or what support do you give to set up those processes? And second, are there particular role types or job categories or industries where you guys have had more or less kind of success?
Great question.
For me, Dallas, I'll just explain to you what we usually do. Okay. The first and foremost for me as a leader, okay, was to understand that everything comes down to me as an extreme ownership philosophy. Okay. And understanding that I used to do this before. I'm guilty of this, like, 5 or 6 years ago, trying to micromanage people, see if they're doing all the tasks step by step by step, trying to chase them for every single thing. Then I later identified that that was kind of a lower level of leadership for me to do that. And what we did was we made a big switch between managing people just on their time, all right, on their tasks, rather than that managing and leading people by results. Because when people work in a remote environment, it's so much more harder for us to just manage them just on the time, the tasks, and other things, instead of just understanding very clearly what are the results that we are expecting and how can we make sure we have a constant communication. So there are three to four different ways we do that. The first one is we do a thing called as an end of the day report. It's called as EOD report, where people can share it with us through Slack, through email as well. And the format is, what was the biggest thing that they were able to achieve, so that we start with win. We work on the gains, not the gap. Okay. And second thing is, what are some of the tasks that were achieved and any challenges that they had that day, so that every day we can see as well if there's a pattern, if there's a common denominator that's coming up. So that's number one, the end of the day report. The second thing that we do is even the daily huddles, as Regent talked about, where there's a massive accountability that's being built up to make sure that everyone is working and everyone is going toward the same goal. But the third biggest one that had a massive impact is having a clear dashboard. So give you an example, one of our customer support team, every morning at 10 o'clock, we get a clear dashboard, which clearly gives a description of 10 people. All right. How many customers have they spoken with? And also, what was the outcome of those people as well? And we make sure this dashboard is being shared at least twice in a day, once at 10 a.m. and once again at 3 p.m. as well. So that the visibility is there, not just for us as business owners, but for everyone in the company. So in this way, like, there's more of a pull motivation than a push motivation.
Okay. And as far as the role types or the industries, have you guys found that there specific roles that have worked better than others? Are there specific industries you guys have had more success in than others? I mean, myself, it's a recruitment business that I run. So yeah, is it more back office or lower level admin tasks, or are there other tasks and functions that you've had success with?
The back office and admin tasks, absolutely strong, very strong, especially the Filipino workforce. But when you go to another level, which is account management type of level, which most of our employees are, I think we have Rachel here in here, Rachel and Eva here. They both are actually more like an account manager type of position, which is way above a general virtual assistant. Okay, so they probably have more experience working with a Commonwealth Bank or HSBC or so. If you're able to tap into that level of talent in the Philippines, man, you'll be blown away what kind of talent you can get. Okay, so Rach is here. Sorry to put you on the spot, Rach. So, what company were you working in the past with? And you want to talk about your past experience?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to, Reg. Thanks for that. So I actually have over a decade of experience working in the BPO sector, since 2008 to be exact. So I've worked under different umbrellas from travel like Expedia. And then I've also worked under Google. I've worked with different IT and SaaS companies too. What do you call this? Like Chime Solutions in the real estate sector over in the US. And I've worked over 6 years for different Australian companies, ranging different products and services from education sector, and as well as typical telco internet services, energy and gas, and even going as far as financials, like Vida. So I've been pretty much exposed to different kinds of campaigns in the outsourcing industry, giving me, a better knowledge as to what kind of profiles do we really look for the different needs of our clients.
Okay.
So to answer your question, Dallas, if you go to the next level of, most people are stuck with the VA virtual assistant level over here. We're going to another level, someone like Rachel, who's worked with, for example, she worked with Google for I think 3 or 4 years. So you can imagine what kind of level of training she received at Google. And she's actually learned that and helped us to set up systems in our company. What she learned from Google. So that's just another level of and in the recruitment space, obviously, man, there is some amazing talent out there. If you tap into that level, which they basically take on more responsibility and not just doing the basic admin work. That makes sense.
Well, and going so far as doing client facing type stuff, so outbound
100%.
work.
Yeah. So Rachel and Eva, for us, they are both client facing, and they do our Zoom presentations and also client success meetings every month and that sort of stuff as well.
Okay. Yeah. Great.
So most clients, Dash and I, we have never met our clients ever. It's all run by the Filipino team.
Yeah, great. Okay, cool. Oh, well, look there. That's great. That's enough for me. I've got your details, so I'll ping you guys a message and catch up afterwards.
Awesome. Thanks, Dallas. And we've got a couple of other questions that have been written in. We've got Gary. So Gary's asked sort of like a logistical question. How do you house the VAs? Where do they work from?
Sorry.
And can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. I think so.
Yeah.
It's more about like, I'll tell you a few things what's happened after COVID. Okay. All the high level talent, people who are A players, who are guns, they want to work from home. Okay. And that's the reason why we decided that most of our people would be working from home as well. But having said that, we do have systems and measures like different software tools as well for data privacy, time management, and productivity, and all these things. But what we have seen over and over again, that there's been a massive shift in the way that really high quality talent want to work. Okay. And these days, they prefer kind of a flexible work environment where they would like to spend some time with their families, all right, have a work-life balance, and at the same time are able to work with some really good companies. So just for us to make sure that we are able to tap into this high quality talent, we want to make sure that people are still working remote. They still work from home. But yeah, because of the reporting structures we have, it's so much more easier.
Awesome. Great answer. And then Gary's other question is looking for his first VA. How does he create culture?
So Gary, we actually have a onboarding process, which we actually, any new clients which comes on, we actually go through an hour of onboarding process to help our clients do that. So we actually set up the initial first month of morning huddle, all that kind of stuff, and we also go through the job outcome sheet with them. And in terms of building culture, you're doing exactly what you're doing in your onshore team. So I don't think there's any difference there. The only difference is we are doing this on Zoom meetings. That's probably the only difference compared to face-to-face.
Yep.
Just to add to Regin's thing as well, what we have seen is even like attending most of the EO days, scaling up and everything. This is something that we used to always think that. They always say that culture is the most important thing. Culture is the most important thing in a business. But when we went deeper, it usually comes down to 2 or 3 things. The first and foremost one was the values of the company, where we sat with our leadership team, Regin and I, we spent almost 2 or 3 days, come up with what are the top 5 values that we want in our company that can be replicated, that can be made sure that it is passed down to many people. And in that way, it becomes so much more easier. And in all our companies, we just have 5 values and we do the hiring. We have to let go people. We do performance management, everything depending on these values. And the second thing is what Regin shared as well is the rhythms, the routines, and the rituals. So this really builds the culture in a company and making sure that people love coming to work. Okay, and just to tell you an example, we've had people who've been working with us from last 7 to 8 years. And when we do a research and why do people really love coming to work, and we can clearly see that it's all about the culture. And right now, Regina and we spend most of the time in our day as to how do we build that amazing culture where people tend to come to work, they love coming to work, they're adding value to clients. And I think so that really plays a big role. So just to reiterate again, having the values really clear and communicating those values to the people and what does it really mean to them. And the second thing is having those rituals and huddles. And the third and the biggest one is what are we doing to build the engagement and the fun in the company culture. Okay, and it just comes down to us as a leader. It's like some kind of a top-down approach. What are the real measurement activities where people are having fun? One biggest example is we do a Fun Friday on the second or the third week of every a month. So we have an entire hour set up where people are coming and having fun. So we do some karaoke evenings. And if it's going to be sometime closer to Christmas party or like a Halloween party, like, where people can connect on a deeper level and they know that they're able to build that connection and relationship with other team members as well.
Yeah, no, very good. Alrighty. Well, thank you. And we've got a couple of questions. I feel like we've answered a couple of these with what we've already discussed, even in the Q&A. So we've talked about the typical role types and also discussed what skill levels. I think that addresses David's question and Howard's first question there, I think. But sort of just part B of Howard's question is, yeah, like are there Australian tax accountants in the Philippines? People who know Australian accounting, can do a BAS, bookkeeping to a degree.
100% there is, and I
Mm.
think Ben's team is experts at this as well. And yes, there are people who's obviously been working with even Ben and his Inspire Accountants, and most probably 60-70% of Aussie accountants have an offshore team member.
Mm.
So there is so much experienced people working with Xero software and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, awesome. And then yeah, maybe we sort of touched on it before, but security and privacy. How do you deal with that? You mentioned an app.
Yeah, this is a great question, actually. And this is one of the biggest thing which we had 15, 16 years ago before we went offshore as well. So look, first thing we figured is almost all Australian banks have an offshore team.
Mm.
And most of the largest company has an offshore team as well. So how do they manage privacy? So we had to get our head around that as well. So there's a few things we do. So the number one thing is when we are shortlisting the staff, and before we even allocate the staff to our clients, we do a full 100 points ID check. Again, by the way, this is a common practice which most BPOs do anyway, and make sure that they are definitely the right candidate without any previous records and all that kind of stuff. Number two is initial training we offer them regarding privacy and privacy policy and that sort of stuff. So we go a little bit deep into training, and some people are not even aware of privacy policies in Australia. And the third thing we have is a HubSpot software. So basically, when they log in the morning and log off in the evening, or even when they take a break, it's all done through HubSpot software. So HubSpot, once they log into HubSpot, it captures their computer from the time they start to the time they finish, and they log in into a system or whatever they're doing. It also takes screenshots of I think it's every 30 seconds, screenshots of the computer, and very, very secure in that sense. And I think most companies around the world is now using HubSpot and a couple of other things there. So there are a lot of things we make sure, and we also have a training program. We cover that during the induction training as well. Even for example, using LastPass for your passwords. So there are a few tools we use as well, which we can share with you on before we even start with the candidate. So there's a lot of measures and things we take, but look, we've been there, we've been in the Philippines now for, as I said, 15, 16 years. We never had any kind of issues which came up with privacy or anything like that. As long as you're training them and making them accountable, I think should be fine.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, well, we're right on time, so we might take that opportunity to wrap up. And I just want to say thank you to you both for joining and contributing to our community. Sorry, I did just see another question pop up. I'll check that out in a sec. But yeah, what I might encourage you to do is if you've got more questions for Regin or Darshan, then feel free to reach out to them personally. We'll include contact details as well off the back of the webinar. But yeah, thanks again to both of you for joining today and sharing with us.
Yeah, look, I'm sure you have specific questions based on your business. More than happy to have a chat outside, because every business is different, and you probably have different type of candidates you're looking for. Happy to chat about that later.
Fantastic. All righty. Well, thanks again, and thanks for everyone for joining.
Thanks so much,
cool.
guys. Good to
Thanks,
see you all
Ben.
here.
Appreciate it.
Have an awesome day.
Yeah.
Thanks so much,
Take care,
man.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.